So I'll start off with my background and my experience then. So as you all previously know, some of you may not, some of you may know, I come from the trade originally. That's why I'm quite hands-on, and you probably always see me on site doing bits and bats and tinkering and stuff. So since leaving school, I did bricklaying. I then came out of that after about 8 or 9 years and dabbled in other bits like car sales and bits like that. At 21, me and my partner bought our first property. We had no house. We were living with our parents, as you do, saving as much as you can. She was 20, I was 21. We had a different mindset to our parents and everyone else. And secretly, we decided to say between me and Abby, we'll buy it because we had some money saved up from hustling and stuff. And we'll rent it out. But we told our parents we were going to live in it. Now, obviously, no property, you can't get a buy-to-let mortgage. So we got it as a residential. After having it 2 or 3 weeks, we just did a few bits, titivating, making it look nice, not too fancy. And the guys over the road said, can we rent it off you? Because ours is damp and mouldy and we want to move into yours. I said, perfect. So we sort of like didn't say out to anyone. And then we just sort of like dropped a bombshell. And then grandparents were like, oh, have you seen this TV program, Road Landlords and all this tenants from hell and stuff? And I was like, for God's sake, because I'm obviously working full time, didn't know property back then. So we bought that. Good old family members never wanted us to do it, but it's the best thing we did. After that, I continued in my job. I still worked in construction, job for life, working for a local building firm, which is really big. And the parents thought, yeah, he's set for life now. That's it. Off he goes. After that, I got fed up of it. I really did get fed up of it for a while. So I've sort of titivated in other stuff. From that, we found out that Abby was pregnant. Little Olivia, it were a bit, well, it were unexpected. She were actually on the pill at the time, so that were a shock to the system. Weren't really ready for it, but you know, you adapt to it, don't you? So then we did decide, shit, how we're going to do this. We do need to move out. We can't live in the house with our parents. So we've been very determined in everything we do in terms of jobs or buying properties or anything. Once we set it in stone and say we're going to do it, we end up doing it. So we found a property across the road from my sister's, just came on the market, and we went to view it and we said, we'll have it. And we shook hands in kitchen. She made the phone call. We negotiated inside the kitchen. I ran the agent. Can I put an offer in at 60? I put it down. She then giggled. And this is the vendor, by the way. And the vendor then ran up, got a phone call and said, yeah, I'll accept it. We high-fived, shook hands and all that, and job were a good one. So we did that. I renovated it. I was in car sales at that point. I got hands-on and was on the tools doing it all myself. This is how I started out, like many people do. And I was working as a car salesman 6 days a week and renovating a property. Now, covered in black soot and putting a shirt and tie on and going to work was absolutely shocking. And my boss at the time for the car sales were pushing me and he was winding me up and stuff because he wanted me to obviously be obsessed with that. But my passion wasn't for car sales. I just wanted to get my property done because I had a baby on the way. So we moved into the property about 4 or 5 days just before Olivia was born. She popped out and jobs are good. And so we were in a house, new baby. It were all a bit crazy. So we just made it just in time. Just probably about 4 or 5 weeks before that, my boss ran me up and I was on the refurb. It were a weekend. It was my one day off. And he ran me up and he said, you need to sort this car out, blah, blah, blah. And I'd had enough. We'd had a few arguments. So I basically told him to shove his job up it because I knew basically if I didn't go full time, I couldn't get that job done and we'd have nowhere to live. And literally we did it 4 or 5 days before Olivia came along, which, yeah, it were quite lucky really how we did it, but it were sort of leave the job and start back in building. I can always fall back on building. I knew that. So that's exactly what we did. So then from that, we sold the house. We made 20 grand on it. This were after a year and we bought something else. Did similar sort of thing, to be fair. We bought it, renovated it and then lived in it. I then went to work as an estate agent because I was sort of getting a bit keen into this property. I thought I've done building. I've done car sales, you know, nice suits, nice watches, well, fake watches. You think you're on a good paycheck and you're clearly not. So I found that out and then I went to estate agents because they're the next best people out there. You all see them, flash cars, nice suits, nice watches. These have got to be the real deal. So I went and did that and I thought it'd be good to talk to investors and sell properties, I thought, and I really want to be involved in property. So I went there. I think I were on 16 or 18 grand, bearing in mind I was probably on like 30 odd before, doing just building and pottering about. And I thought, oh, the commissions must be amazing. Got chatting to people, spoke to the valuer, he were on a terrible wage, you got a bit of commission. And these guys were buzzing like, yeah, you can pull like 25 grand if you work really hard. And I'm like, I used to just go to work and drink tea and coffee, didn't work out at work for 30. So what the hell's going on here? This don't work out. So I spoke with manager and he says, look, yeah, just keep working hard and your commissions will come. And I sort of totted it up and I was like, this is really bad. It's shocking. So it wasn't the dream that I wanted. I wanted to go and be an estate agent and have loads of money, and that's not what I wanted. Well, that's not what it turned out to be. So I thought, right, I need to somehow buy property. So I started looking myself, built up a little pot of cash again, and found an house. Funny enough, it wasn't through the agents I was working with, but it was at that time. I'm not going to go into it too much, but you might have seen a video. An old school teacher of mine, we met up at an auction house when I started looking. We went into business together. This is like, he's a school teacher from 10 years ago. He's involved in property. I thought I've hit the jackpot now. You know what I mean? He's got a buy-to-let portfolio, HMOs. He's been doing all this. So we ended up setting a business up. We did sourcing together and bits, but again, I won't go too much into it. So I found a property at Modern Method, the good old trusting Modern Method, which is massive now. Everyone's doing Modern Method. Bearing in mind, this were a year and a bit ago, and it wasn't that big then. It was quite a strange. So now we're a bit scared. You had to put 6 grand down on the day. So I paid it on the credit card after securing this cracking deal. So he owed me money, but I obviously trusted him. He's like brought me up as a kid sort of thing. I was a student. So we moved forward with that. And then a week before we were to complete on that, he all of a sudden just turned around and said, sorry, Daniel, I can no longer go any further. You'd be better doing it on your own. Bearing in mind, I had no money. You know, we had a bridge in place through the new company, and that could no longer go on because he wasn't part of the company. And the shit hit the pan now, like, oh my God, what's going to happen here? So I've still got a bit of a job at this time, but I'm again trying to take the leap. And I can't quite remember when the leap came in. I think it was when that happened. And basically left me in a bad place. So the only thing I could do was ring the vendor and see if we could delay it by a couple of weeks, see what I could do. So long story short, in 10 days, I raised £40,000. I got a bridge with Roma Finance, which cost more than the moon. And we set up a new company, bank accounts, me and my partner, and we got it across the line. Honestly, 10 days, I couldn't even believe it. We paid £10,000 in bridging finance, bearing in mind this were a 50 grand property. And now it's all done, finished, refinanced, everything's well, and we rent it out, and it's a good property, and we still only managed to leave about 6 or 7 grand in the deal. So that all happened. And then I thought, right, there must be a property world. Can I connect with people that are doing what I want to do? So bearing in mind I'm full-time now, but I'm still like, what the hell do you do? So social media, I reached out to people, met Mr. Rob Layton. You might have seen him on a few of my posts. Good friend of mine now. All I did was said, can I go for a coffee? He did a lot of sourcing. Went for a coffee, bought him a coffee, and he took me to the 10X conference. So Rob Moore, 10X, Grant Cardone and stuff, VIP tickets, went to that, and this whole world just appeared. I'm sure for you all that happened as well. You didn't know there were a property world. You get involved, and then it's just like, pow, big property world. So then that's when it started to get serious. Started documenting what I was doing, started sourcing more, working with Rob, having fun, like literally on camera, like scared shitless, not knowing what I'm doing. But that was the best time because it's like a backlog of memories for people to see, which worked absolutely massively for me. So from that, then I ended up buying a property with a good friend of mine, which were a buy-to-let. For some reason, Andy barely put any money down, but he did a lot of work for me. And then I got all paid out. We were all money deal out, all money out. And we just sort of rented it out, and we were ticking over. So we had about three, I think we had 3 by now, because obviously the other ones were residentials, which sold. We then thought, how can we buy more property? So we decided to sell our house, take the money out of our house and buy another property. So we decided to go into rented. So we're now in East Morton, which is a better area than Keighley, where we invest. But, you know, we pay 900 quid rent now, which sounds a lot, but we bought another buy-to-let off the back of that. And that was the way we could sort of get momentum. I was sourcing deals, project managing, documenting my journey, and just tons and tons of jobs were coming in. So from doing that and documenting everything and being in property full time, I went project managing, getting referrals. I was getting sourcing fees, project management fees. I was making money on materials and lads, doing odd jobs as well. And that all totted up to now doing 17 refurbs in total. And I've got a huge pipeline of deals coming in. Some of the stuff now, I'll just explain what we've got. We've got 3 buy-to-lets, which are ours, that we've got in the pipeline, which are full refurbs, extensions on back, nice properties. We've got flat conversion going through at the moment through planning, which will be converted into 3 2-bed flats. And then we've just bought ourselves a resi, bearing in mind we only just went into rented in January, and now we're going back to residential. But it were a deal you couldn't turn down. Direct to vendor, 3rd direct to vendor deal, and we got it at 160, but we can put a new building back garden, which will be worth about 180, 190. The house itself will be worth 250. Oh, it's going to be, everything's going to get documented, and it's really good deal. I couldn't turn down, and we helped them out massively because she's in a care home. Her son's 75, maintaining the property for the last 2 years. So I just went over as a good gesture, said, let me help you and stuff, and we managed to secure it. No letters, no nothing, just handshake. You go over, help someone out, and the value then came back to me. So part of them 17 refurbs are for clients, for myself, and this is how I generated an income. A lot of people comment on not just my stuff, but a lot of people's stuff, and say, oh, value your time. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? But I'm in property full time. If I can make a 2-3 grand fee times 5, doing 3 to 5 projects, you can finish your day job and go and earn some serious money. And that's what I kept doing. So when I'm posting these videos, like, obviously everyone's different, but I've been hands-on in my background, so I can save a lot, but I can also bring a lot to the table and make stuff happen. Not everyone can do that, but if you've followed previous videos of mine, you've got to know the basics of the business you're investing in, especially what happened yesterday and previous to that as well, which we'll go on about. So that's a way to do it. If you want to leave your full-time job, start project managing, you can all do it. I'm going to talk to you about some bits that you can do. Start charging sourcing fees. I mean, a package nowadays is 5k. Sourcing and project managing, 5k. Do that 5 times. We run 3 to 5 projects at once. So the money can really start. You know, you've got to put a lot of time and effort in. And I know a lot of people are outsourcing and getting accompanied viewers to do it. And that's great, because if you can systemize it all, it's perfect and you can really go far. But for me, I just invest in this spot that I'm in. I don't need to go anywhere. Very luckily, we're not other side of country, whichever. We're investing on our doorstep, and we're in the best place ever to invest, which is brilliant. So refurbs, you've obviously probably all seen my refurbs that I do. If not, take a look on my Facebook page, Daniel Salvato. And one thing I've noticed is, especially with Facebook, you get to see what everyone's doing. And I'm proud of what we do, and I know we do a high finish. Now, people try and go cheap and nasty, and it just doesn't pay off. You've got to spend the money, and you've got to get the quality products as well. But you don't actually have to spend a lot. I've seen people posting they've spent 27 grand on a 2-bed buy-to-let. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of that, but I've maxed out at, like, with all the fees on 22, so I'm not too sure. And that's not with me doing work either. That's with having the right relationships and stuff. but again, I can't vouch for what they're doing. But when you zoom in on pictures, you see like little defects in the tiling, silicon in all run, carpets all rolled up, you know, just it looks bad. And that's on a photograph, and you can make photographs look good. So what does it actually look like when you go and see the property? So you've got to, if you want to stand out in front of a crowd like yourself, if you want to stand out on social media, you're going to attract more people. Well, your property is the exact same. You know, I've found if you put more time and effort into it and spend, maybe not spend more money, but get the better quality product, you get the higher rents, meaning you get the higher values. And our track record at the moment with revals on refinance is unreal. We've just had one a couple of days ago, whenever I did that post, went in for 85, pushing the boat out. Bearing in mind, this is a flat roof, and we did a client's a year and a half ago, and he got 80. I knew it was worth about 80, 85, but we thought, obviously, with the madness, we're happy with 85. We're not pushing the boat out. The guy went round, he shook the, well, I don't think he did, but he sort of said that he basically praised the tenant and said to the tenant, he should be paying you. Oh no, what did he say? He said something like, basically, because it was that nice, somewhat or other, I can't remember the phrase he used anyway. But the valuer were really happy. The broker said, I'm so shocked because of all the down vals. I've seen all the posts for the down vals, and it's just gone mad. And we managed to pull it out, second lockdown, whatever you want to call it, and get that job done. So that's a good reason to do a high quality finish as well. And it can be done at cost. It really can. Have a trusted team. So one way to find trades that I've found, obviously I come from a trade background, but if you're new to the game and you're getting new trades, ask for pictures. And pictures can lie. You all know that yourself. Pictures can lie. So you need to go to jobs that they have done. It's the only way you're going to see the workmanship. Get someone to do, you know, ask for testimonials or ask to go and see a client. If I were a builder, let's say, and I had loads of clients in the backlog, I'd be happy to show you my clients, you know, the work I've done, because I'd be proud of it and I'd want more work. So you can always, people just get people off Facebook or offline and they don't check any of this. And then they realise, I've gone with a cheap guy. The plasterings look like samurai swords been attacking it. And that's the exact reason why. Ask people that know them. Facebook's amazing. I check all my tenants. I check all my trades. If I'm getting new trades, you can get everything on Facebook. You can see what they're wearing that day. It's crazy. Look on Facebook at the work. If they're happy and proud with their work, I can assure you they'll be advertising it everywhere, because every tradesman wants to sort of brag about his quality of work, and they're the people you want. And then that's how you achieve the best, highest value and stuff like that. And then explain to them what you're doing. Starting out, let's say starting out in property and you're going to build a portfolio, for instance, or you've got clients or investors, you're going to give them more work, meaning you're going to get a better rate, not necessarily a better rate though. You're going to get them long term. You're going to get them working. You know, if one guy just comes and fits a bath for you, he's going to charge you over at moon. If he knows he's got 6 months work, you're going to build that relationship with him and really build that connection, and he's going to look after you. I obviously can't say much about if you're 4 hours away, but I know you can maybe go up and have a meet up. You can do Zoom calls, you can do stuff like that. There's not much experience I've got because I obviously do it locally, but these still can be used in that sort of thing as well. When you get the keys to your refurbs, so let's just use a buy-to-let again. Let's keep it simple. Some little bits that you should be checking on, especially after yesterday. And I do this anyway, but I'm just going to, it's pretty good advice and it's worked for me and it'll probably work for all you guys. So first job when you go in the property, and actually ask yourself, do you do this? Because majority of the time you probably don't. Check the stopcocks. So internal stop tap on the building, let's say it's 100 years old. You turn that on and off and check it's working, functioning correctly. You've eliminated any leaks or any problems. What normally happens is you turn them off and then you turn them on and they'll start leaking. So they need to be replaced. If this is done at the start of the refurb and you've got a brand new tap, any future leaks is going to save you thousands. And I mean thousands, because water's a scary, scary object. The second one is get Yorkshire water. Have a look at the outside stopcock. the build up, I don't know how this, there must be a scientist reason behind this, but they get so much mud in them for some reason. I don't know how. They just build up mud in them and you can't turn them on and off. So if your stopcock was seized inside and you couldn't get to the outside one, well, you may as well get your armbands on and start swimming, because it's game over. It really is game over. So if you do them at the start, you've eliminated a problem. And if you ask yourself or ask any fellow property people, I can assure you they won't do it, because I've sort of always looked out for it. But until, well, yesterday and prior to that as well, because of my experience, that's something that really should be done. And I've never ever seen someone on Facebook going, hey, look at my new stopcock. No one brags about having a new stopcock or anything, because they probably don't do it. But that's 100 years old, and it's probably on lead like they are and all that stuff. Put a brand new one on for the sake of, you know, peace of mind, and it'll save you thousands in the long run. Thousands. Check your utility bills for, not your utility bills, but your utilities for debt. If I had anyone, a tradesman coming in, for instance, let's say Paul, to come and start First Fix Electrics or something like that, or the plumber, and he needed to connect his batteries up, and you've got £1,000 worth of debt, and you've got no electric, and then the gas man comes in and you've got no gas to test out. These need checking. A lot of these places have meters near us, you know, the top up meters, and they block them until the debt's paid. So the first job, well, the second job after the stopcock, and the same day, you want to be going out and clearing all debts. You obviously don't clear them, but you explain you've bought the property, we've got debt, get rid of it and get that bloody meter back on. Because if you ain't got power, it's costing you serious money. If you've got a bridge, let's say, or client investors' money, whichever. So ring them utilities, get that all cleared straight away before any trades come in, because they'll be pissed off, and I can assure you of that. They will be really annoyed. Let's see, what else have we got? So next step after that will be to order all your large, bulky materials. I'm going to go through the places where you can order these from as well, where I've found over many years, couple of years now and more, buying from different places. I've done the hard work for you. It's, you know, we're buying all the time. We've got 3, 4, 5 projects on at once. We're buying a hell of a lot of materials. So I'll go through that as well. But ordering like plasterboard, for instance, if you've got a plasterer on, get him to come and measure, and he's done a price, for instance, say, can you just do us a list of what you need? And I'll order the bulk of it. And what I tend to do is add about 10 to 20% on, because it can always be taken back. But what I've noticed is you just sell it on. Someone will come and pick it up. Facebook Marketplace, I've got 4 plasterboards. Come and get them. Because the time and money that's going to save you to have them there on site is, you know, well worth 20 bloody quid, I can assure you of that. One thing I do as well with my project managing, and this is something you might want to do if you're looking at going into project managing full time and doing it as a full-time job, I sort of feed my trades materials, so they don't leave site, because now it is really bad with a pandemic and going to merchants and stuff. You can spend hours if you don't know what you're doing. You know, if they don't have materials on site, how are they expected to work? And do you think if they don't have materials, whose money is that? You know, who's spending the money there? They're going to want paying, because that's your cock up. So feed them the materials. And this way, I'll tell you a little tip and trick here, and this is why I do it. Because I know I can get the best place to get discounts and the best products, let's say. So I can save money. As a trade, if you've never been in trade, I'll tell you what they think like. They'll ban a pricing. And they'll ban a pricing, and let's say they come across, they might think in their head, oh my God, that wall might be a nightmare. So already, let's just use £2,000 as an example. That's what it should be. But they might come in and price and say, actually, I'm going to put 2,450 in because I'm putting contingency on and stuff. So you end up overpaying slightly there. That's all good and well, but the markup on materials is 20%. So if they ring up and deliver £1,000 worth of materials, they'll charge 20% on top of that. If they go to shop and buy something, they'll charge 20% on top of that. And they'll probably charge the time as well. So you've got to bear that in mind. how, you know, this is a way of cutting cost, and it's a way of getting rid of your money if you just want to give it away as well. So I tend to be the man on site or the man at home in the office, ordering it all, making sure it's there, and I'm literally just drip feeding them materials. And now, if you try and go to a merchant's or try and drive in town or anywhere, it's chaos. You imagine paying a tradesman to be driving around town and nipping off and going talking to his missus on the, you know, who lives up road or whatever. That's how people end up overspending a lot. And I've found if you do it, especially if you're doing it for your own, then you can save yourself a fortune. But if you're doing it for a client and you're doing it for a full-time job and you've got a 20 grand margin to hit, you're going to want to pull that job in at 14. And then you can leave your day job. So your fees might be 5 grand to source it and project manage it. Let's just use it as these examples. But if you do that 4 grand under what you've charged Mr. Client, that's your money. There's that way of doing it. Or sometimes you might say to the client, if there's future work, we've done this before, because I don't like to rob anyone. There's no point having people's pants down. What I don't like is when people cut corners and then the cut corners, get the cost down and then keep the money. That's not how it works. Sometimes I give money back to clients because I want them to work with me. If we've agreed a price of 20 grand and I get it in at 14, that's rightfully mine. Sometimes it can go back, however you want to work it. But if you're wanting to get into property full time, when you do these ways and start thinking how much money you can make, you know, you could piss your day job. You could, easy. You'd have plenty of cash. You'd be like, woohoo. You know, you get 50% project management fee up front, 2 installments, 25% after that, 2 grand project management fee, or even 1,500 quid starting out. Then you got your sourcing fee. How many months do you have to work for 3 to 5 grand at work? You could easily be in property and you could do 2 of them starting off and still make money. So it is I get a lot of hate comments from it, but I tell you what, it makes you a lot of money and it makes me in the property game full time. And you've got to start somewhere. These people that comment, more than likely, started and forgot for some reason, they got Alzheimer's and forgot that they did the same 30 years ago. But you've just got to start, but now it's seen more because it's documented. And that's why I share all the tips and tricks and bargains, and people, you know, people love it, people hate it, but it's got to be done. If you're serious about doing this and want to be in it full time, then it is actually so easy when you put this in place. It is, and you can make some serious money. If you've got trades in, let's say, and you've got multiple projects on as well, this is a benefit because let's say you've got Paul on, for instance. Paul, bathroom's not ready to do for the tiling, let's say, but go to number 6, it's ready for tiling. So then what you do is you've got 2 jobs running and you cycle the lads off each other. And it just goes round and round like this. So they don't go off and do Barbara's job up road and you don't see them for a month. They're on your other job. They come back and you cycle it. And then that way, let's say an average project, let's just use 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. You can probably do 2 projects in 9 to 12 weeks or something like that by doing this cycle. And you can actually bring the time down. And funny enough, I don't know if it's look at draw or what, but I've probably had maybe 6 projects next door to each other. Now that's good because you use one as storage. You go in there, you send the lads in. Oh, it's amazing. But then think of having 3 or 4, 5. This is how, you know, you get these people that just have a team in that just hit one job. This is how you build relationships with your trades and keep them happy. We've got our trades nearly 4, 5, 6 months work. Well, it's with the projects we've got coming up, you know, some of them will be there months, some of them will be there weeks, whichever, going into the new year. And it keeps them in work and they really appreciate everything we do and I appreciate what they do. And that's a good way to form that relationship. But let me tell you now, that started from nothing. So you've got to make the start and the effort. it doesn't just, you know, I've not just come off a golden train, whatever you want to call it, and pulled all these nice trades off. These are all new guys. It's just the way you talk to people. So that's what I've found anyway. You must keep a clean site. Once you go in, you rip out, you get the shit out. It's very, very simple. Again, the trades are going to want paying whether it's a shithole or not. And if they can't get the work done, they've got kids to feed. Let's just bear that in mind. Complete to a nice standard as well, and you'll get the highest rents. What I've noticed as well is, it might sound bad how I'm saying it, but I've written it down like this. It sort of pushes away the cheaper tenants. So if you're charging over the odds, not even over the odds, because round near me, you can get a one bed flat for like $450, which looks like it's just been pulled through a river or whatever. It's really bad. We can charge for a 2-bed in a nicer area. We stand out on the street. We get the best money. 595, let's say 550, 595. They'll stay long term. There'll be a better quality of tenant. Again, I've got note against like social housing and all this, but my strategy is evolved around getting the best tenant, because I believe they're going to be there long term. And by getting sort of, not testimonials, but like feedback from them, well, put it this way, you've probably seen my post and they just put a £1,200 marble fireplace in, because the two people that are there are going to be there for life because they love the house. It's, you know, it's like a dream house, and that makes me then feel really good. And then it also makes me feel like I've got a tenant for life. I've got a couple of other tenants that say next time we leave here, we'll be going in graveyard. And, you know, it can't be look at draw. I must be doing something right. And all these things that I'm telling you now really do build up. Now, if you're investing from a long way away and you just want cash flow and you've got a portfolio and, you know, like stuff you may have heard from other people, and you just want money and you don't care, then that's fine. You've probably got a lot of money and you can do that. But my experience is I've come from being a builder, and I want to build a multi-million-pound portfolio, and I want to care for my portfolio. So one I've got here, actually, I only invest in certain areas. So you'll all have your streets that are good, bad, really bad, decent. But why do I only invest in good areas? Because what I've found is capital appreciation or potential growth, you don't get it in the bad areas. You know, in Bradford city centre, you can buy a property for 30, 40 grand. You can spend 15, 20 because it's still a 2-bed house. So you might spend 15, 20 on it, and guess how much it's worth? 35, 40 grand. So, you know, or you invest in a better area, you pay 40 to 50 grand. You spend 15, 20, they're worth 80, 85, 90. You get a better tenant, you get to go home and sleep at night, because that's what it's all about. If you can't go home and sleep at night, and you've got what I see, like criminals in and out of your house, and you know, you're paranoid. That's why you get these stressed investors that are handballing off these, you know, portfolios and stuff, because it's so stressful, and you hear these horror stories. So decide what you want to do. What else have we got? Run multiple sites, sourcing fees, bin for all that, supply site materials. Bloody hell, I'm flying. Look at this. Day rates are not something, you know, so there's price and there's day rates. For some reason, everyone says you shouldn't do day rates. And I know the reason why, because they think your team's going to slack or not do the job. But they do come in handy having someone on day rate, you know, paying them whatever it is a day. Now, the only reason you can do it on a day rate is if you know and have sort of knowledge. And it's very basic. How long does it take to plaster out a room? You know, a good plasterer can do a room in a day. They'll charge maybe, let's just say an average room. So a good plasterer could do a room in a day. You could probably get a plasterer between 140 to 180. But even if you said 200, this is Joe Bloggs and he's amazing. He's got a golden trowel. Let's say 200 and he gets that room done in a day. If he wanted a price, he'd be charging 450 to 550. How many rooms are in an house? 6, whatever, 5. Then, you know, you can save thousands. If he's there 10 days, it's 2 grand. He might charge you 4.5 grand. when people put price in, they always add a markup, because guess what? If they mess up, or you mess up, or the property pulls out this random bloody explosion, whatever, they're not going to have it come out of their pocket, are they? They want paying, so they add the extra percentage on, like everyone. I think some people work on about 45% margin, so they're making massive money, tons. And if you watch that TV program I've been watching, Jesus Christ, someone paid $4.5 grand for a 2-bed terrace, and only 2 ceilings got done and a few walls. $4.5 grand. It's like, wow, okay, wow. And then this, but day rates can be done, but you've got to know and be knowledgeable. And that's all right, me saying, but you can learn this. You can look online. You can literally type in Google now, how long does it take to plaster a room? A day. So you put 2 men on it, you might do a room and a half. So then all you're doing is keep it simple and just multiply it by how many rooms you've got, or whatever, or how many meters if you want to get precise. And there is actually sheets out there that you can get that you just type in. It says, oh, you need 10 bags of plaster and it'll take 2 days. Obviously, that's very rough, but, as you do it more and more, if you're wanting to make this full time, you need to know it, because on bigger projects, it can cost you a lot. Another thing that people, for some reason, hate, but anyway, it is what it is. If you want to save money, do the rip outs yourself. Understand the property. I can rip out an house. I don't do them as much now on my own, but I take lads in and I'll, talk them through it and stuff if I need to. But a rip out can take a day. On that TV program, it takes them 6 weeks for some reason. If you got the trades in to do it, it'd be an average rip out cost you about 1,200 quid, £1,000. You can go in and take lockdown out, like with your left, right hook and stuff, and start pulling stuff off and enjoy yourself for a day. Even if you spent 2 days there, say you value your time at 250 a day, 300 quid a day because you're a big hitter, that's fine. That's 600 quid, and they're going to charge you 12. So that's already 600 quid. Can you see it snowballing how much you can actually save by doing these? And if you do want to be in the game full time, it's easy. And then you charge the client 1,200. You do it for 6. You've just made you send 12, an extra 6 or whichever, because it's not about ripping the client off. It's about giving a good service, providing them with what they want. And then it's a win-win because you came in at 20 grand. And then it's a win-win because you're feeding your son steak for next week. So it's, it's definitely not about ripping anyone off. Understand timescales, that's a must. It's got to be. Even, multi-million-pound projects, timescales is everything. Buy-to-let projects, timescales is everything. If you start on the basics, it's easy, because then you just, my plan's to do multi-million-pound projects, and the knowledge I have now will be easy on the bigger stuff because I'm just multiplying. So, and a little thing I put here, I don't know why I put it, but you're not going to make, you're not going to make money sat at home being a property investor like everyone says. I don't have this flash mic in front of me because I'm not going to tell you that you're going to sit there and earn thousands of pounds, because that's a load of bull. And honestly, it's graft. You all probably know I can see a lot of you are already involved in property, and you might be further ahead or behind, whichever. But when starting out, you can make so much money. It's so easy. It really is, to get costs down and stuff. So, especially with everyone losing their jobs as well, it might be something you look at now. I don't know. So, build a buy-to-let portfolio first, because you won't build an house without putting a foundation in. So why the hell are all these property investors building, these? Well, of course, some people can jump onto the bigger stuff, but the brokers and the banks and the lenders and people want to see your experience. So let's start, get the ball rolling if you're a beginner, and then go on to the bigger stuff, because the experience is then built, and then you go on to the next thing. A lot of these people that do the big stuff, don't get me wrong, it's fine. You might jump on with a multi-million-pound investor. That's cool. But what then happens is cock-ups start happening. Really bad mistakes start happening, and you lose millions of pounds or thousands of pounds. And people say, I've had so many people tell me this and heard it, that you'll learn from your mistakes that you make. No, you won't. Do not learn from why learn from your mistakes? Let's say I lost £10,000 and it put me out of game and I'm back working at McDonald's. I made that mistake, so I've got to work there for another 10 years because I'm an idiot and I couldn't go on YouTube and see Daniel Salvato's content and he made the mistake. I don't make the mistakes. I follow everyone else that makes the mistakes, because if they make it, they can lose thousands. I don't need to make it, and then you don't. And thankfully, what I've done and built, I've not made any mistakes. Don't get me wrong, I've scuffed a wall when we're putting carpets in or whatever, but I've not made £1,000 worth of mistakes, because if you learn from the people that have made them and let them make them, trust me, it's better coming out of their pocket than it is yours. And go on YouTube and just type in mistakes or whatever, how-to videos, and then you learn, and then you know not to make that mistake. Obviously, sometimes you will, but try and not make £10,000 mistake and like put you out of game. Because I hate when people say you learn from your mistakes, because you don't. You learn from other people's mistakes. Build your knowledge and experience, and then all this, like I say, will come in for future projects, multi-million-pound projects. Oh yeah. So I'm not going to go on about this bit, but I do a lot of self-managed, and a lot of people do fully managed through agents. After what happened last night, I won't go on about it, but look at my post. If that was fully managed, I wouldn't be sat here now, because I'd be bald and I'd owe thousands of pounds, because we'd have flooded next door's house and we'd have flooded our own house. And in 5 minutes, because it was self-managed. And then I thought, actually, it doesn't necessarily have to be self-managed, but what needs to happen is you need someone, whether it's Joe Bloggs, your good friend, or yourself, that can answer the phone 24/7. Because if they don't answer that phone and your tenant's screaming out to ask a simple question, which could be easily solved because you're the man that knows everything, or woman that knows everything about your property, and it can be solved instantly, a phone call. We're in 2020. Phones are so easy. You've all got a phone call. If your tenant's got any problems in the night, get them to ring you. Or if you've got plenty of money, I'm sure you can pay a VA in Taiwan, wherever they are. I don't know. There's VA videos on YouTube. You can probably get them to ring them, but I'd prefer to do it myself. And then I thought, after this happened last night as well, I thought, people are going to comment and say, why don't they just call an emergency plumber? Right, okay. So you ring Joe Bloggs, the emergency plumber. He goes, turn the stop tap off. In this case, she ragged the stop tap off. So that wasn't a solution. I then said to her, she disconnected the washing machine. I said to her, turn the blue nozzle off the washing machine section and it'll turn it off, don't worry. But it's not connected to the pipe anymore. That's where the water's coming out. It's attached to the washing machine in the middle of the living room. So I'm like, okay. And then the third solution will go outside. To your left, there's a stopcock. Turn your torch on and turn it until it stops. And that solved the problem within 5 minutes. There were, in the basement, maybe an inch of water. It were on about 4 or 5 minutes. If there's any professionals in here, I'm not sure how much 2 bar can pump out in 1 minute, but I'm pretty sure you could have a 10-foot deep basement in no time, and it's scary. And all because I answered that phone, because everyone's probably got the phone next to them now, and if someone rang, it were an emergency, you would. So I'd probably get someone 24/7 that you can pass your number on to, jobs are good in, because that can really save your day. And then people think of insurance, but my mate's just been done by Yorkshire Water, and it's taken him 10 weeks and it's still not sorted. How much rent will he lose? Luckily, they managed to stay, but let's say it were really bad and they had to go. You know, it might all come back on insurance. It's not nice. You're ruining people's lives, like kids and all sorts. It's definitely not nice for a phone call. I've got one here as well. This is a little thing with me, because maybe if the younger generation are listening, the millenniums and all that sort of stuff, sort of like, don't let age affect you, what you're trying to achieve and do, because I'm not being ageist or whatever you want to call it, but I know a lot of people that are a bit older sometimes. Let's say, for instance, the experience I've had, and I've come on site and I've known probably more than the the guy that's wanting me to do the job, whichever. You get a lot of grief being a lot younger. And just crack on and get it done and become the expert in your niche. And then you can back all your problems. You can met the solutions. You can be the one to go to. And a lot of young people get really affected by this. But if you go out and smash it and be the best in your niche and be the man to go to or the woman to go to, then you're going to smash it. And age is just a number, however you look at it. So that's for sort of the younger guys and girls. So materials then, so this is maybe something to write down. You might have seen a few of my videos anyway, but I'm going to start with B&Q. Get a B&Q trade card if you haven't already got one. After spending a couple of £100, you'll get 10% off, and then you'll get 15 if you spend more. Things you can get from B&Q, I'll run through them very quick. Plastering gear, bathroom suites, paints when on offer, because Screwfix is the other best place. Valspar. Instead of getting Dulux Mix, get Valspar. It's expensive, but it's a better paint. Tanya's nodding her head. She probably don't like Valspar, but I do, and that's just my advice. Tiles are always a good one, and they always have a bloody offer on all the time. You can get discounted tiles all the time. The vinyl stickers, the mosaic stickers I've just put down, nice and thick, waterproof for bathrooms, look amazing. The 16 quid minus your 10% trade, it looks $1 million. Always look for offers. So let's say you need a bath. Just run up the bath aisle. On the end of each aisle, they've normally got like the ones that have run out of cardboard or someone's pulled cardboard boxes off. I've had baths for like 20 quid and they're normally 65, 70 and it's mint. They've just done me a favour. I didn't have to recycle the cardboard because they've already taken it off for me. So just by looking and been there anyway, you can easily save it, and it makes a good picture as well. You know, bath behind you, picture. It's always good for social media. Reduction sections. Yeah, as well, I get bath suites, toilets. Another place you can get all these sort of things is online. They're good, but at the moment, B&Q, the quality of B&Q stuff is really good. And the good thing about it is you get 10% trade, and it's local normally. We've all got a B&Q, I'm sure, and you can take it back if there's a problem. And it's really good, and it looks the part. It is the part, and it's cheaper than anywhere else. Is it Plumbing World, whatever they call themselves, and all them fancy online shops you can get them from. They do it, but if you're talking a few pound, and then you get your 10% naturally save anyway. But let's say it's cheaper online, how the hell do you send it back? I don't know. I used to get them from Manchester delivered on a pallet, full bathroom suite, taps, the full works, 220 quid. It came on a pallet, you took it off, and then you burnt the pallet or got rid of it. 220 quid. That's the full shebang, and it's mint. Look at all my bathrooms back then. Stop doing that now because he stopped doing the deal. But B&Q now is the place to really be, and they always have discounts. Screwfix. So this is an interesting one as well. Screwfix do a Screwfix trade card, whatever they call it. The part of B&Q, I won't go too much into it, but apply for one. They've all got the trade counters. So if you see how busy it is on a Sunday or whenever you go in, it'll be busy. You just go into the trade side because you're a trade customer, and then you just pay as normal and you trade. So you're basically cutting the queue, and members of public aren't allowed in there. You know, like your DIY paradises, they're not allowed in there. So they're all queuing. You just go through. You look well cool. It's like VIP. Brilliant. And build relationships, because if you've been in Screwfix, you need codes, especially at the moment, and they won't look in a book. But if you've got the relationship, they'll get you the codes. Just saying from experience, it really does save you a lot of time. Things you can buy from there: plumbing gear, pipe fittings, sometimes radiators, depend. Sometimes you get the TRVs with them, sometimes you don't. So your merchants might match them, or you might have a cheaper place, but they're good quality. You get guarantees with them, it's local. This is a little tip as well that you'll probably want to look at next time you're there. Screwfix are known for DIY, so is B&Q. You'd think a multi-pack of fittings, let's say copper fittings, was cheaper than the single because it's less packing and all that. Well, for some reason, not in Screwfix. So you do need to bear that in mind, and it can up to be, you know, be £10, £20, £30 over a big order. But if for the sake of it, you could have got single, and you can take single back, but you can't take when you open multi-pack back. You end up spending more, and you're left over with a load of rubbish bits that you can't use unless you're putting them on the next project. So what's the point in overspending? Paint, emulsion, again, undercoats, Dulux, so cheap there. They always have an offer. B&Q and them, obviously, because they're the same place. Just have a look. Sometimes Screwfix will do the offer. Sometimes you'll get cheaper with your trade, 10% at B&Q. So always check that. Switches, sockets as well. You can get chrome fittings on there. Really nice stuff for cheap. And I see people paying like £10, £15 for them, and you can get them at Screwfix for next to no. And it's the real deal. It's the good stuff, guaranteed, registered, everything, and build relationships for quicker service. Something I do as well, I'm not sure if many of you do credit cards, but I won't go massively into this. You can get an Amex. Josh, you've just got one, haven't you? You can get an Amex credit card, whether it's personal or business. Now, again, I'm not going to go into credit cards, but basically what I'm telling you to do is you can pay for it and pay for it 30 days later and up your credit score. If you use the Amex, which is American Express, you can get flights, hotels for literally just using it. So what I tend to do is pay it off at like 22 days, go on it, just check it, tells you, and then just pay it off. But that then keeps my bank looking healthy for 22 days. And it's also building my credit score. So my partner's got I think she's got 980 or something, and I've got 960, just because I use these credit cards where I can. Screwfix don't accept them in the store, but Screwfix do a PayPal online, so you can buy stuff online. Register it to your PayPal, register it to your Amazon, your eBay, whether it's a business one or whether you're starting out and you're doing it on your personal one for self-assessment or whatever. But these are really good ways to build your credit score up and save. I mean, I've got like, now Josh has come on because I get a referral fee and Josh get not a referral fee, but points, and then Josh gets points if he uses a set code. So I've got like 100,000, which takes me, I can probably go to Maldives or something for like 700 quid or something, because you just pay the taxes. But imagine that in 2 years or whatever. But you can use any credit card, but it's free money essentially if used correctly. What else have we got? Howdens. So I just want to, I thought I'd tell you about these places because you can save a lot of money, especially doing it multiple times. And you really can. Build relationships. You must build relationships with everyone, never mind just at Howdens, but everyone. But what I've found good is battling them off each other. So let's use Howdens. We get all our kitchens from Howdens. There's Magnet, Wren Kitchens, whoever the hell you want to use. Now, Magnet seem to be very competitive against Howdens. If you go to Magnet and get a quote, or ring them up and get a quote, you can then go back to Howdens and battle it against each other. So you can get that rate down, and the margins they're working on are just ridiculous. Tell them as well that you're looking to buy the world or a lot of property, because then this way you get instant discount, build that relationship. If they know you're going to buy loads off them, you do really get good discount, and it works out really well. So things to buy, I've done a little bullet point here, because you'd think, oh, you just buy the full thing, but this is where Howdens get you. Very naughty, but very, very clever. So electrical appliances, the cell packs, get them from there. Get your kitchen from there, your sink, get all that sort of stuff from there. Skirting and architrave you can get from there. Always ask them to lower the price, because you'll get really good rates, and they'll go down and they'll go down, because the margins are absolutely ridiculous at Howdens. So when you order all this kitchen stuff, let's say you get a full kitchen, make sure they're not putting extras on. Put the cutlery tray in, which is 13 quid. They put extra side panels on. You've probably seen kitchens before. I personally don't like them, where every bloody kitchen unit has its own side panel, and it looks, how the hell they fit the kickboard. Like, cut it 10 times is ridiculous. Some people might like that, but trust me, when you look at the price of a kickboard, £60, £50, and you've got like an extra 7 kickboards, because this is how they're generating the money. They're not stupid. And what they're doing is they're playing you at your own game. Yeah, Mr. Salvato, we can do that. We'll discount it, and you've got an extra freaking 7 stupid things, and it's more time and labour. And they do this. I've seen pictures on Facebook. I don't like it. Look at the kickboards. There's a slit every unit. It looks like someone's gone in with a chainsaw and done a massacre. It's absolutely mental. Dordogne doors are the ones that I use. I don't think they're called Dordogne, but the real oak ones are called Dordogne from Howdens. The 20 quid a door for the egg box ones. 20 quid I can get them at. I think they're about 24 plus VAT or 26. But 20 quid for the doors that I use from Howdens. Katie Price has bloody got them in her house. Honestly, they're beautiful. Everyone's using them. It's the routed ones. Have a look on my page. They're really nice doors. 20 bloody quid. 100 quid for a set for your house. And the good quality doors. Howdens, all backed. Good looking as well, especially when you paint them. Now, this is the interesting one. The things not to buy. Because I've specified that. Now I'm going to specify this, not to buy, because this is where they get you again. Worktops. Your average worktop in Howdens must be 140 plus. I think you can get one for 120. But B&Q is the place for worktops. If you look on my last... I'm going to do a post tomorrow about the house we've just finished. That worktops from B&Q, or most of our worktops from B&Q. They're £68, and then you get trade off them as well. Oaky effect, or you can get different effects. And they're really good quality. Half the price of Howdens. Obviously, if you're wanting like that white sparkle square edge, that is going to be a 140 a pop. That's fine. But when you see my kitchen from Howdens, the price we get it at, and it's a good quality kitchen, and it looks the part, and it is the part, then I don't need to spend 150 quid times 2, because it's always times 2 with worktops. Taps, the shaft you want taps, unless you want a council tap. Have you seen them little things and look like a little, like the straight like that? The taps that Howdens do, you'll see it. They come with a sink and a tap. People put them in for some reason because it's 60 quid or something for the set of tap and sink. The sink's fine getting it from there because you get the waste and stuff, but the tap is horrific. It really is bad. Just go on eBay, Amazon, look for a really good source. Don't buy Chinese crap because you'll just replace it. But if you can get them beautiful swan necks for £35, £40. They're charging 90. Even if you get a brand, you can get them for £40, £50. And then council, if I say any more of them council bloody taps in refurbs, honestly, I feel like commenting and just say, take it out and put a proper tap in, because a tap and a sink and stuff makes a refurb. It really does. And I just think you've just been lazy there, but they might not know. So I thought that'd be a good little tip. Kitchen handles and your door handles for your actual doors, get them off eBay. A guy called Handlekin, I don't know if he's a guy or a girl or a company, whatever he is, Handlekin. I think there's a website. He does a lot through eBay, and you can get really nice handles with hinges and latches for like £7 to £10, and the good stuff. I had a problem with one for some reason on these rose handles. The sleeve, whatever you want to call it, wouldn't go on. It was wedged, so I just messaged them. They sent another. So we've got one handle spare, one that we can't use. But again, eBay and Amazon's really good, especially Prime nowadays, because you can send stuff back. But you've just, again, got to be careful with what you're doing, because you will get shafted. Howdens special here, soft closing hinges. They'll sell you the soft closing hinges because they're sexy. The 20 quid for a huge pack online, proper stuff as well. Howdens are about £6 a set. There's something ridiculous. So something that's going to cost you 70 quid, you can actually go on Amazon or eBay. I tend to use Amazon because of Prime. And you can literally get them for next to no, the same thing, exact same, if not better. And they've just got a massive markup. And all this stuff I'm buying from these places are going on my Amex. So, or my credit card, and then I pay it later down the line. Carpets are a must. Bathrooms, carpets, kitchens, they're the sexiness of a property. They're sexier. Flooring, bathroom flooring. Don't be putting cheap twist curl, whatever, twist diamond curl, whatever they call it nowadays, in because it's 400 quid to do a 7-bed house. It's just pointless. put the better premium, not premium, but like middle range carpet in. Because again, we get ours valued up at what we want and we get the highest rents. I'm guessing because we're putting the better product in. On a 2-bed terrace, we spend about between 800 quid to 1100 quid on all the carpets and underlay. We get 10 mil underlay, soft, whatever it, Cloud9, whatever they want to call it. And for paying that, maybe, I don't know, you might get something for 500 or 600 quid. But it just doesn't have that same wow factor. The pictures don't shine on it and it doesn't look right. And when tenants walk in, you've got to remember that's their home. So if they walk into that and there's twist curl, I'm not saying it'll put them off, but it's not right comfy when you're getting dragged by your missus or whatever, because you'll end up with bloody big burns down your arm because it's really rough. You're better with a nice soft silky stuff, and it lasts as well because it's all stain resistant and all that sort of stuff now. But again, if you look on my Facebook, you'll see the sort of stuff I use. And then that's it, guys. Q&A time. That's what I've got down. So if there is any questions.
Yeah, that was killer. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Paul.
Some proper content there, mate. Thank you.
I hope so. That's why I did the bullet points. And I was going to do a nice PowerPoint so I could show you my stuff. But I'm no tech wizard. There's no point in me even pretending I am. That's something I'm bad at. But, you know, you can go on my Facebook and look at the products we use. I bullet pointed a lot of the stuff that I've found and I've built over time have really benefited me. And actually, if you are getting involved, let's say you might be just starting out in property, it's not even hard to actually get in. You know how much money you can make? Like I said before, you can easily make double your wages at work, and you can get involved in it full time a lot quicker than you think.
Yeah.
If it's done right. So,
what did you say about the B&Q card? It's when you just started mentioning.
So you want to just go in, or even if you haven't got any properties, you want to be going in because you can buy your Christmas shopping from there, whatever. Go into B&Q to the reception and just say, can I sign up for a trade card? They'll give you a form, fill it out. All it is a little, well, you can actually just give your postcode and then your thing. You can actually fill it out online. TradePoint UK, I think it is. And you must be able to do it online nowadays. You don't have to go in and get a bloody letter, surely.
Nowadays, as if you've been like doing it 70 years.
Yeah, tell me that. Maybe 50 years ago, when I did it, I did go in. But yeah, they're really good, and you can get up to 15%. But I spend a lot, but I don't spend enough. But I'm always in the 10%. And I've even before, it's naughty, but when I'm one of them guys, I like to do nice things. If there's someone in front of me and they're spending 100 quid, because I've got the relationship with the staff, I'll just say, do you want to just use my trade card? And then that makes me feel, it might only be a tenner, but that then makes me feel really good. And like, I'm buzzing then.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling. And all I've done is like, and guess what? That 100 quid goes on your trade card. It doesn't go on you. It's like a spend on your trade card. Do you see it? Because it goes on spending now. They've changed it. So that then keeps you in the bracket. I think it's like 300-400 quid to get 10% off. But don't go mad and buy all sorts, because if you start buying like duct tape and stuff, remember it's DIY paradise, and certain timbers, they really shaft you. I dare you to go down and look at screws. Wow. You'd be like buying diamond rings. I'm not, it's bizarre. That's where they get you. They're not stupid. They get you on tiling chrome strips and plastic strips. The 16-20 quid for a bathroom chrome strip that looks really nice outside of your tiling. Or you just go to your tilers merchants, they're about 8 quid. They charge you nearly triple or double that. It's where they get you. They're not stupid, these big companies. They make some stuff look good, and if you can get it at a reduced rate, then you'll save money all day long.
Perfect. I've got a few questions here for you from the chat.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, cool.
So Roger's asking, have you got any experience of kitchen wraps, and where would you recommend to get them?
Yeah, well, kitchen wraps. They're good because you can do like worktop wraps, and you can wrap absolutely everything nowadays. A lot of people are doing the French chic. Has anyone seen the French chic? I know a few of you might have. I've done a lot of French chic and had a really good response off it. The kitchen wraps, we looked into it once to get a kitchen wrapped and it was going to be like 700 quid. Well, we probably spend double that on a kitchen getting it done. Bearing in mind you've got to pay for your trades to do it. But this French chic stuff, what they're doing is they're putting the heaters on, heat guns on it, hair dryers, whatever it is, and peeling off the gloss, and then the sanding it and the MDF paneling, the painting in French chic. If you look on the Facebook page, and it's like 16 quid. Correct me if I'm wrong. 16 quid or something for 2.5 litres or a litre. But this stuff, you could paint an house in 1 litre. It's bizarre. It's got special chemicals in it, self-leveling, super thick drying and all this stuff. Just go on French Chic website or Facebook page and people are painting rain jackets, Ugg boots, you know them Ugg boots? Like, and they look mint, but I mean, I can't imagine how you wear a raincoat with painted in paint. I don't really know how that works, but they do them Victorian gin things, really nice. But if I tell you to join this page now and you join it, I can assure you tonight you'll be still up at 1 o'clock, amazed by what these guys are painting. One woman said she was going to paint her husband, and then they're painting sofas. They paint sofas, leather sofas, you know, that red that they used to have. They paint them a nice grey, or God knows how you sit on them. I've not actually been there and seen them, but they look the part. But yeah, it's an amazing product. French Chic. The wrapping, I'd probably do French Chic. I think you'd probably get a better finish, but experience on wrapping, it seemed expensive for what it was. It might have come down. You can get them sprayed as well, but again, it's money, isn't it? I suppose you've got to sort of add up what's best to do.
Perfect. Cheers, mate. Tanya's asking, are those Howdens doors solid?
No, they're egg box. The solid oak ones are about 70 quid, 60 quid. You can probably get some primed white ones for about 45, 50. I'd say look on the website, but the website's really dodgy. You go on and they don't seem to tell you any prices. It's all a bit weird. I don't understand Howdens at all. But then again, it's not for the public, so just rin them. But the door-down doors, if you have a look on mine, the one with the grey window, yeah, I'll be doing a post tomorrow in the door-down doors, so you'll see it. Brilliant. And I don't think you need solid doors in rentals. I live in a £300,000 new build, and there's a 7-panel. Ignore all the mess. But that there is just an egg box door. We're in a 300 grand house, new build. It don't make any sense. And it's only 15-year-old, and they're not oak or anything. So on a 70, 80 grand buy to let, I'd be probably definitely advising to put the egg box ones. And if they get damaged, it's a quick fix and cheap to replace.
Yeah.
And they do every size at Howdens as well. So, yeah.
Spot, mate. Louisa's asking, if you've not done a full refurb before, how would you tackle drafting your first checklist for the refurb?
Yeah. It's funny that actually, because we're a previous business partner. We were planning on doing all this, and we were going to have a big Excel sheet that were really sexy and fancy, and it told you what to do, and you type this in, and it were all just going to be done on these fancy computers, you know. But that's not happening now. But you can. I think there's video. I'm starting a YouTube channel in December, and I'm just going to literally be helping beginners out and people involved in property, and just give tips and tricks and try and do my best. I mean, if you want to have a chat, maybe I can walk you through it. But I'm sure there'll be videos on YouTube as well. I mean, even if you type in Google, how to refurb a house from start to finish, I'm sure the first link will be 10-step guide of where to start. So, and you can use this to look at the recording of this, how I spoke about the different starting points, stopcock, do this, rip out this, that. But once you've done it once, and actually if you think about it yourself, let's say you picture your house and you go, right, I'm going to go in, I'm going to rip it out. And then how am I going to get my electrics and plumbing in? They're going to come in. and then I'm going to plaster it, and then we're going to let the plaster dry and have the kitchen fit, and then the bathroom's going to go in, and then the second fix might come along, or the first coat of paint, and then you can sort of add it all up. If you I like to think if you dumb something down, it sounds a bit wrong, but if you dumb something down, it's a lot easier than, like, because if you think of the small picture, it's easy. If you think of the big picture, you've got to be some sort of scientist. So dumb it down, and I'm pretty sure you will able to figure it out yourself as well. But YouTube, internet, or I'm more than happy to reach out and give you some tips. That's fine.
Thanks, mate. And then Sam, let's just remind us of your patch again, please. Location.
Yeah, West Yorkshire based. So, well, it's Bradford, my investment area. And then when I say Bradford, everyone runs off Zoom. But you can buy houses in Bradford for 10, 15, 20 grand. I could go tomorrow and buy 10 grand flat. But would I do it? Yeah, if I wanted to be a pimp with a load of hookers and drug dealers. But it's not for me. I like to invest in decent quality areas, because you've got a different, you all know yourself, you've got a different type of investor or portfolio builder, whatever the hell you want to call it. Some want to make shed loads of money. They say they want to make shed loads of money in, maybe let's use social housing, for instance, go and do the social housing and get that income. That's fine. Some want to invest in Harrogate and do multi-million-pound houses and get the higher rents and the capital growth and all that. Some want to go for the buy-to-lets in decent areas, get the working class tenants. So it just depends what type of person you are. But Bradford, again, you've got to know your streets. You can't just come, it's like anywhere, Manchester, Liverpool, London, wherever you want to be. I'm pretty sure if you threw a stone, you could be in a bad area, and then you went the other way, football pitch, it could be like multi-millionaires row, whatever you want to call it. I guess that's everywhere. So it depends. Yeah, there's a lot around here, and that's why it's so good for me, really. Within 20 minutes, I can be in every good spot, hot spot that I sort of need. And then if I want to do multi-million, if anyone wants to do multi-million-pound ones, 40 minutes away, I've got Ilkley, Harrogate. Where we live now, because we're on a new build estate and we're renting, we've had a lot of benefits of this, because, yeah, we might be paying 900 quid a month in rent, which sounds a lot, but we bought the properties. But now I'm 27 years old. I'm in a £300,000 house. That sounds all good and well, but I'm renting. But what am I surrounded by? There's a guy over at road that's got a Maserati, probably dated up to his eyeballs. But I know the local people. There's a guy over at road that had property in Leeds. He sold them to buy, I can't remember what he bought with it. I think it's just sat in bank. My neighbour, she's got a high-paid job in the NHS. I'm living next to a guy that goes over to America who does marketing, that talks to billionaires. He does like all these drone capturing for marketing, and his friends are billionaires. So that 900 quid liability, whatever you want to call it, I bought property, but I'm surrounding myself with people with a lot of money. And we're even in a neighbourhood group chat. That's what we've got round here. I've never had this where I lived before. Amazing. But the net worth of that group chat, I bet there's probably about 15 families in it. Over £3 or £4 million. I'm sure they'll be there. So all it takes, they all watch my content. They all see what I'm doing. I remember when we first moved in and we started the sweet shop before lockdown, just when lockdown hit, and they were all like messaging, "Wow, you're entrepreneurs and you're amazing and all this." And we're like, "Yeah, well, we do all this property stuff as well." And that were just next level. That's a video in itself. That sweet business thing through lockdown. But it does, surrounding yourself with millionaires and stuff is. I've not got an investment off them yet because they've not got the switch like us. They wouldn't just give us a load of money because that's not how it works. You've got to build that report. But they are liking my content. They're seeing what I'm doing. So maybe if I post I need 50k, I can offer a good return. Oh, Daniel, you do that? Mrs. has just lost a job. I'd love 400 or 500 quid a month in back pocket. Who knows? So, yeah.
Spot on, mate. So Nicoletta's asking, have you done BRR? Which answers yes.
Yes, yeah. All my models have been BRR. The ones we've lived in, if I could have, like, for anyone that's watching on Catch Up or maybe anyone here, the BRR strategy is brilliant. It's a good place to start. But even better is, Abby's got a friend called Olivia that she went to school with. She's not seen in ages, but she drives around in this nice Porsche, and a fella's got a good job. But what they do is, it's similar to what we do, but they do it on a higher scale. They buy houses to live in. Let's say in Cullingworth, Cowling, or let's just say Ilkley, as you might know it, or Leeds. Let's say Leeds, right? So they buy a house at 200, and they buy it on a mortgage and get 10% down, whatever they do. So it's not a lot of money, 20 grand. They refurb it, they might put it on credit cards, or they might have the money, right? So there might be 50 grand on refurb, because it's still an house, but you might spend 50 or 80. Now this house, because it's in a nice area and they're living in it, then it's worth like 350 to 400 or 420. And then they live in it for 16 months, and then they decide to put it on the market. Now, I'm not sure how it all works. I'm no tax accountant or anything, but when you live in a property for a certain amount of time, I don't know if they've changed it, but I know back then you didn't have to pay tax on it. But now I know they're doing some sort of capital gains and all this residential rubbish, and I don't know, they'll probably have your pants down. But let's say she makes 100 grand. She's done that 4 times now. We've done it we've done it twice, and then we're going to do it again. But not unfortunately, we did 20 grand on our first one, and then 18 grand on the other one. And then that's how we invest in property. And we've lived in them places. Now we're here. We'll do the next one. We're due to make on that one. With that, we'll probably make 150,000 on the next one, which the back end will be through the business for the new build in the garden. That'll get passed on to the business. And then ours might make between 30 and 40 minimum. If we live in it for a year and a half, even if we have to pay taxes on it, whatever, that's fine. But a 10% mortgage is so easy to get hold of. Anyone my age or younger or a bit older, whatever, anyone, that is a way to do it. In 2 years, you could have made yourself, my mate did it. He didn't even know he did it, and he did it. He, because of the pandemic, he put his house on, he made bloody 55 grand. He didn't even mean to. 55 smackaronis. He only gets 30, well, he gets 30 grand a year as an electrician. And he just made 55 grand for living in an house for 2 years because he bought in a good location, a hot spot. People go mad for these hot spots. They'll pay you now, cash, to go there, anywhere in a good area. That's the way you want to do it. And then the BRRs as well. And then build from that, because everyone wants to see a portfolio to lend.
Yeah. And then the follow-on from that question was, how do you know what to do exactly to add the value to the house?
Yeah, so comparables are always good. You can look on a 2-3 mile radius, Rightmove, mouse price. There's other stuff. There's Rightmove Plus. What else is there? There's like Zoopla. What's that? Market House. What are they called? Some at housing or something. Anyway, you can go online and type it in, find the comparables, what have sold. And if you're going to be out like me, Home Track. If you're out like me and you're going to be the best in that area, we've broke ceiling prices every time. So it used to be about 87. We got 94 for ours. So when someone says to you, they always think we're overspending, but they don't have this knowledge that we are, like I have, and you guys have, where to get the products from, because them 30, 40 pounds add up, the 500-600 pounds add up. So what they perceive you spending 25 grand on refurb, you're doing for 12 and a half, 14, 15. And then, you know, you're saving on the materials, you're beating the ceiling price because you've gone hard and you've done the best product. So the comparables, I mean, mine's very simple. For me to find my investment area comparables, because one, I know the area, but the best one is 2. I can say to you guys now, right, we can buy an house for 40 to 50 grand. We can spend between 12 and 20,000 on it. And then the value of that is going to be between 70 and 95. And that comes in region for all 2-bed buy-to-lets around me. And I can use that scale, I suppose, on areas and then back it with comparables. And then because it's me, I know I'm going to go in and beat the previous comparables because I'm better. You know, we're going to provide a better product than the previous people. And this one may have been a couple of years ago. Now is a very difficult time, but this direct to vendor one we've helped someone out. We've got it for 160. It's probably worth about 160, 170, but we've got the garden, you see, with it, which is new build territory, and just down the road is new builds, literally just behind it. So we're not going to have a problem, and it'll do as a family home for sort of 16 months. And then we'll move on. And then the next step for us is barn conversion, because we've got a lot of like barns around here. We've been in Yorkshire, we can, you know, and then that's just my good friend of mine. Well, say a good friend of mine is, I used to go to school with him. He's a football player. Don't ask me. He's won below Premiership, and he's unfortunately one of the lowest paid defenders in his team, but he still pockets like 12 grand or something a week. He's just bought a barn conversion for about 10 minutes from me, 650 or something like that. 650, and he's just put planning in for it, and his parents and sister's going to live there. And it's a big barn conversion barn thing that he can get 7 beds in, so he put planning in for 7 beds, and then like a row of terraces, but they're not terraces, like semis but terraces sort of thing, maybe 3 of them, and they're going to get converted into 3 houses, 3 sort of semis with a terrace in middle, whatever you want to call it. And GDV of that, I think 800,000 for the 7 bed. And 400k for each of the houses. His mum's going to live there, his sister, and he's going to live in the big 7 bed. He's going to make minimum like 650 on it, minimum. That's if he spent like a lot of money, £1 million or something ridiculous. He's going to only spend about 550. So he's going to probably make in the region between 800,000 up to £1 million. So the barn conversions, I mean, fucking hell. It'd be nice if I could do that, but what I'm trying to say is you can climb, you've just got to climb up and sort of decide what you're going to do, and it's so achievable. But that's a really good way to, don't get me involved with tax side, I'm no tax guy, but a good way to build it up, definitely.
Spot on, cheers mate. Gary and Kirsty, which flooring supply do you use as not too far from you?
All right. This is a video on itself, is this. Let me just tell you a little story. So the carpet supply that I use is called Hanover Carpets. Now, what I didn't know till last month in building relationships, basically, I've known this guy who owns Hanover Carpets for a long time. He's an Asian fellow, an Asian family that own it, and I think he's got quite a lot of brothers, and they all do it. They all chip in and do this. Got talking to a guy and getting to know him because we bought so many carpets through the same place, and they look after us. And he just kept talking to me, and we've built a relationship. And then it went on to handshaking, and I'm like, this is great. I'm really getting in. So get talking to him about property. He started off with his brothers, then he got into commercial, and showing he's doing stocks and all sorts. But long story short, Hanover Carpets is like a business in Keighley. They've got them in Birmingham. They've got them in wherever, right? So as I get to talking to him, there's a lot of warehouses near us, and I knew we had a unit down there. And this Australian or America came, and this Australian or America owns all the flooring companies in the UK. I don't know, this guy's a multi-billionaire. And then they sold some of it to him. But these guys manufacture every single carpet that you see on eBay or Amazon, wherever the hell you buy carpet from. They broker it out. What's it called when they send it to other distributors? They sell it out as trade or whatever you want to call it to like DFS. All them, they make it. So I'm like, okay, right. So he took me down. I kid you not, they're making this bloody carpet in these warehouses 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He showed me the full production. I'm going to go down and do a video if he lets me. They don't like talking about it. People don't like talking too much about stuff, do they? So I don't know if that'd be something I could do. And it like something how it's made, you know, that TV program, and they've got all these steaming hay bales looking things, which is crushed up polystyrene or something. This is how they make the underlay, and it's like smoking. It's 100 degrees, and then it cools and dry. And I'm like, oh my god, this is unbelievable. And he's like, oh yeah, we sold part company for X amount of millions. The guy that runs it's a billionaire. He flies over every now and again, and we guaranteed to get a certain amount of money. He bought us out, but we ran it for him. So the contract's another year or something, because he's now earned that much money and done this and that is with his commercial and all that stuff, because he started off at the bottom and now he owns bloody a lot of Keithley on Sly, especially the big commercial units. So Hanover Carpets are probably supplying whoever the hell you're getting your carpet off. And a lot of carpet manufacturers, is there something called, or sellers, dealers, well, I don't know the bloody term for it, but there's something called a seconds in carpet, which is like a bodged up carpet, which is not as good as firsts, whatever you want to bloody call it. And a lot of the fancy places sell off these seconds as premium quality carpet, and they're con artists. So he's built his career up and his family-run business, as you'd like to call it, by being honest and selling in that much quantity. There's 7, what are them big trucks called? Oh, my mind's gone. Them big wagons, anyway. 40-foot wagons, 7 of them every single day, going in, going out. It's a TV show. I'm not even joking. It's unbelievable. And I didn't even know about this. And I'm now shaking hands with him. He took me to his house. His house is local to me, actually, 5 minutes away. And it's a new build. They dug out like 30,000 tons of muck. They had a nightmare with council. And then after it all, the council wanted to award them some sort of trophy because they'd done such a good job. Really nice. And what he did was, he took all the stone off all his rental properties and walled them up and K-rendered them and used punch face stone on this new build. And they wanted to give him trophies and stuff. And he said, go screw yourself, basically, because you were a nightmare through the full thing. So I can assure you the carpet you're probably getting is through this guy. It's bizarre. But they're brilliant. The carpet quality, you can just tell. It's really, and that's what I say. You go and drag yourself on twist curl, whatever you want to call it. Carpet, cheap. It's like sandpaper. It's awful. If I pulled you along my bedroom in one of my my living room, let's say living room, pulled you along my living room, you'd love it. Nice and soft and proper and durable and everything. It's amazing. Look at my photos and go on maybe, I'm not going to say any groups, but any group, and just look at someone else's cheaper carpet photo and just have your own opinion for an extra couple of £100. And if you've got that relationship, you're probably getting it as the same price as the cheap stuff. And that artificial grass I did a post about, they're one of the biggest manufacturers in the UK for artificial grass. There's containers after containers of artificial grass, and they just ship it out. Well, they ship it all in. It comes from Berlin or something. Somewhere, don't quote me on that. Berlin, I'm sure he said. But you go down, it's honestly, if he lets me create a TV program down there, that would be amazing. But locally, Hanover Carpets. But that's my little story, because he's got some serious, again, relationship building is amazing. And it seems to be getting better. But when he shook my hand that one day, after doing this deal and talking to him, and what he tells me, he really wants me to do well. It's weird. He gives me tips and tricks like I'm giving other people, and because he's so above me, and he says the commercial's just a breeze. So that's where I'd love to be. You buy your unit, you put it on a 15-year lease, insurance and fitting something or other. They do it all out. It looks like $1 million. You get paid for 15 years, and then it's immaculate, and then it's worth 5 times its value or whatever because they've done it out, or you just put it on another 20 years. He's got Alton Cars. It's a company in Liverpool. He's got a unit. He paid 500 grand for these 2 units. He rents it to Alton Cars for 20 years for about think it's like 90 grand or something, or it might be more. It's just ridiculous. And they've put a massive tower on it. They paid for it. So I don't know commercial, but I like the sound of commercial eventually, definitely. Especially we live in industrial territory. It's all industrial mills and pop-up sheds, whatever you want to call them. But eventually I might do that. It'd be good. So Hanover Carpets locally, yeah. Sorry. So I told you if I didn't have a bloody bullet point thing, I rant on a bit too much. But that, if you see a TV program with my name in corner, Daniel Salvato, I'll be sending it out. Oh, it'd be great. Yeah. See what we can do.
Gary's asking, how have you arranged the deals you've done with investors? Do you give them a percentage return, equity share, or income share, etc.?
Gary, do you mean for armchair investing, or do you mean working for clients? Sorry, say it again, Paul. Sorry.
I'll let Gary come on.
Oh, go on then, Gary. Yep. Sorry, I forgot you can unmute your mic. Yeah, Gary, go.
Yeah, so in the spiel from the group, it was on about the 250k the investors finance raised. Yeah, where you've used that into the deals that you've done.
So let me tell you what that deals? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So I should open this chat thing, shouldn't I? And then I can actually see what's going on. Yeah. I told you I'm a technophobe, whatever you want to call them. So 250,000. So I'm sure you all remember Alpaca Baby. Yeah? You all remember Alpaca Baby? You've probably not seen Alpaca Baby for a while. So that there, we bought 2 properties cash, which I didn't put a penny in. I raised the 40,000, and then we raised some other cash that we bought and refinanced projects as well, and then paid our investors back. Alpaca, I don't even want to go into it, but it's now no longer. I'm in the process of selling my shares. So if you've seen my videos, I've got a scribbled out Alpaca logo in black, in my black jacket. That were £120, that jacket, and I like it. And it's got alpaca on it in white, like this, but alpaca. And I couldn't justify getting rid of it, so I just coloured it in black. And then I'm in the process of getting my own stuff, but I can't justify it. So I'm selling my shares in that. I raised, I think, about 145 there, I think it was, which is essentially I didn't put a penny in. I've still now not put a penny in now. It would have grown and been massive. I mean, I were pushing it. I were like the Rob Moore, and he were like the Mark Homer, but it didn't go to plan, unfortunately. So, yeah, I'm my own brand now. That's why you might see Daniel Salvato scribbled on side at photos. I don't seem to have much luck anymore, and I don't know. You grow, don't you, as an individual, and people seem to be what they are, and then they're not, and all this. So that's why it's such a scary place, I suppose. And could you imagine if it went wrong? And property is a big game, and that's why you should be starting out small fry as well. Not small fry, but if you can, let's say you've got a business partner and you start at the bottom together, more than likely you're going to work up together. Because what starts to happen is someone's got more experience than someone brings money to the table, and then they start getting silly. Emotions get involved every bloody time with whatever happens, and what people perceive to be sometimes not in any business. And that's why you've got to start low together and aim high together. And you've also got to have the same future goals. Like my future goal is just, you wouldn't even see it if I pointed to the sky. It goes that far up. It's all about planning structure. But yeah, the money raised has been, well, in the process of getting refinanced and paid back out. But previous money aside to that has been refinanced and pulled back out as well. But it will go up because we're getting, we're bridging the flats, but an investor is coming on with 60 grand for the flats. And then for the new builds, there could be a couple of new builds actually, but for the new build, I might be able to get development finance on that maybe. I might look for investors. I don't know until I look into that. And then we've got planning gains. I don't know if I mentioned that. We've got a couple of planning gains we might be doing where we just need an investor to come on as a third party, come on with 50, 60 grand and just be sat back and we'll deal with the rest, and then you'll get get your money back out the profit or whatever. So there'll be more money to be raised, and it does slowly. Well, it adds up quite dramatically. It's when you actually write it down on paper. It's amazing how quick it adds up. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, the last question is Melinda asking when we're finishing. Because she needs to come in. But I think that's about it. Thank you very much.
No, that's cool. Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it, and cheers for being patient. I hope you've taken some nuggets away. Yeah, I really hope you've taken some bits away from it, and you can use it even if you're a beginner or experienced or whatever. I've just found that that's really worked for me. So
yeah, perfect. Well, I'll get this onto the YouTube channel, and then everyone can catch up on it then.
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks, I'll catch up with you soon, eh?
Yeah, marvellous. Cheers, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Daniel.
Rendezvous.